I have the daily guide. The big one is about the Boko conflict. Nairi rejects Boko peace mediation report. Also on the front page this morning, resign or be sacked. This is the minority talking to the Minister for Lands, Amakofi Boa. I think this is about the lithium deal. They don't like the inconsistency there, so they are asking for him to either resign or be sacked. CJ appoints 3 judges for Galamsey courts. That's something we're looking forward to. Mustafa Hamid challenges OSP charges. He's been challenging these charges, hasn't he? But I suppose he's launched some new challenge. You can find out all the details of that in the pages of the Daily Guide, page 6 to be precise. Right, and one more. SMLGRA scandal. Colonel Damwa granted 50 million Ghana cedis bail. These days, the bail numbers, they are not small,
50 million.
50 million.
The Woyome scandal was 51 million.
The whole scandal.
Yeah, if I remember very well.
And I remember that overturned the nation, Today, that's bail money.
Anyway, the Ghanaian Times, 800 unit whole oxygen city housing project takes off. We are told this is going to cover about 1,890 acres. Very, very big project that will transform the Volta regional capital. Now, Senate has launched a virtual branch to bring service closer to clients and support homegrown solutions for accelerated development. This is the Margins Group speaking. 54 Ghana Armed Forces engineers to help rebuild Jamaica. In the aftermath of the mediation, the Boko issues, government sets up 1 billion Ghana cedi fund to build social economic infrastructure in Boko. Now, if you go to page 9 of the Ghanaian Times, Education Ministry dismisses claims of 13th month salary for teachers. The ministry says the minister has not said that they will give 13th month to teachers. So those waiting for that, they should slow down small.
Fake news.
Yes.
But you see, what would be wrong if we gave teachers a 13-month salary?
It'll be Angie, not just teachers,
But also, I asked the question, but I ask another question. Can the Ghanaian economy afford that?
I was going to ask which budget has provided for this?
Yes, but you see, so look,
but the Ghanaian economy afford not to motivate teachers to teach our children better.
Well, I agree that teachers should be one of the best paid.
Look at the results we discussed last 2 weeks. There were results.
Well, and you heard what some of the people said. I mean, the reality is that people go into teaching as a last resort.
Yeah, the teacher's reward must not be in heaven.
No.
We must pay them well here so that the best brains would want to go into teaching.
I wish you those results.
But if we were a country that loved research, the teacher's reward would not be in heaven.
I wish you those
because
results.
we would give the teacher enough money to do research right here. And that research, look, the first research I took part in when I was at Cardiff University was a research by the BBC. So the BBC had contracted one of our lecturers to do a research for them. And the lecturer came for us in a focus group discussion. Said that the focus group discussion is better when there is a lot of, wine and everything and food. You feel free and talk and, and that's it. They would pay all the time for research. But here is always a problem.
Anyway, since you are talking about research, page 19 of the Ghanaian Times, Ghana National Research Fund to become operational next year.
There we go again. There we go.
I have the insight this morning. The insight is celebrating some police officers. It says unsung officers credited with decline in Langardism in the Greater Accra region. That's a huge challenge for the region. But then the insight is pointing out that areas such as Asalaja or Yarefa, Blekuma and Bachona and its surrounding localities, once known for being flashpoints for this land-related violence and intimidation, have recorded a marked decline in the incidents involving land guards. So they're celebrating some officers who they believe contributed or are still contributing to that as well. So that's the main story you'd find on the front page of the Insight this morning.
Now, there's a story on the back page of the Ghanaian Times I missed. Minister presents 4,150 street lights to MMDAs. This is the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Obiniwa Akwele Oklu. She's presented 4,150 street lights to the 29 MMDAs in the region. This makes it an average of 144 street lights per assembly. This is the Greater Accra average, but the national average, based on what the Ministry of Energy gave out, is 88 street lights per assembly.
Woefully inadequate.
Yeah.
Nowhere near enough. You know, the Langard story is just bringing something to mind. I went to a funeral once, and someone came to make a donation, and he was announced, and he sort of introduced the crowd. He said, "Oh, Eja, then, onona, oya Langard, oyibi, then." And I remember thinking, so now people actually say that is their profession.
Well, people are security guards.
But it's an illegal.
So other people are guarding land.
It's very much like saying, "Oh, I'm an armed robber." It's illegal. What's a land guard?
But you see, Kojo, you ask a very important question. These land guards, whose lands do they protect? Whose lands?
That's his job.
Yeah, but whose lands do they protect? The former Chief Justice said she was setting up a committee to deal with land issues in Accra, and by extension issues of certain challenges within the judiciary. So that particular investigation, I want to see the report. Where's the report? I met a land guard years ago. I'd arranged an interview with him because he had changed. He told me how he had been protecting the lands of ministers of state. He told me how he engaged in a shootout with the military around Michel Camp. He told me how he was sent to Efutu to cause mayhem during voter registration. And the reason he stopped, he says he could not believe that he was jeopardizing the lives of the young ones that he carried along with him all the time. And so he decided to stop. On the day we're going to have the interview, the moment I announced he was coming in studio, he called me and said, "Charlie Bosu, Oma Shasi from you. Mean to me back." But this guy, that's the job he does. And the reality is that sometimes they know them. Even the security agencies know them. They know them. I mean, go around. Go to some of the, even certain real estate companies have land guards protecting their lands.
I mean, if they are announcing it at funerals.
No, but because you see, when the real estate, when the estate company comes for you, and you are their land guard, and as part of your reward, they give you 2 or 3 plots, and those 2 or 3 plots will be bought by a big man in society. Why wouldn't he announce to you the next time that he's a land guard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Tragic.
Anyway, let's go for the online news review.
And if you go online, my Joe Online, deliver the first scandal, and you're on your way. You are on your own. This is Fifi Kwete confirming Mahama's hard warning to ministers. Remember what the president said, that whoever delivers the first scandal is leaving. That story, Fifi Kwete is confirming that. He's still on my Joe Online. He's explaining the OSB bill fallout after the presidential intervention, and he says there is no conspiracy by NDC. And he's also rebuking the majority leadership over the OSB bill, and he's telling them not to put the president on the spot. Now, foreign policy must face parliament. Samuel Jinapo blasts government over transparency gaps, and Jean Adukoye Mensa and deputies must go. Fifi Kwete says EC leadership has lost public trust. Parliament has given the green light for the construction of the Accra-Kumasi Expressway. They've given the green light for the concession, the Accra-Kumasi Expressway concession. That's also on my Joe Online. And this morning, something big is happening. Joy Business Review of 2025, major economic issues, comes off today. Winston Kofi Amwa will be hosting that. It will be live on TV and radio as well. And President Mahama has deployed Ghana's armed forces to aid Jamaica after Melissa, and this is also a very big story, and I'm happy that the armed forces are getting this attention when it comes to their excellence, when it comes to engineering. You know, when the Malcolm disaster happened, we bring some people from, I think, Israel or
We are from Israel.
But the first responders were our Ghana Armed Forces, the engineers. When the voter spillage happened, if the engineers of the Ghana Armed Forces had not stepped in, would have lost thousands of lives. And these people we've used over the years to build rural roads, to build even urban infrastructure and all that. I think that as we aspire to develop infrastructure and grow as a country, with a whole of government approach, for example, the infrastructure of the country can grow if we use a lot of our resources within the armed forces. 48 engineers, 49, the 50 engineers, resource them. They can build the roads and the bridges and the schools and the toilets and the skyscrapers we need. And so we work with them and local contractors to retain the value within and cut out a lot of the capital flight that goes out to foreign contractors.
You see, this is no rocket science. You have the engineers in the Ghana Armed Forces.
Smart engineers. Civil engineers, mechanical engineers, every type of engineering.
But why don't we use them? We must use them. You see, we must learn to look to ourselves. That's something in Primary 5 book. For all things, look to yourself. Look within. We have all the expertise in this country.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. In the past years, you go and borrow money. And so once you go and borrow money, they give you lots of conditionality. But today, if we can raise those funds, and sometimes some of these things, we've been talking about roads to a lot of our areas in this country.
Yeah.
If you look at the Fojoku Road, for instance, the Fojoku stretch, where some time ago there were renovations on the Bond Dam.
Yeah.
So huge vehicles, huge trucks use that road and destroyed the road. It's not been fixed.
Yeah.
It's a road I used to my farm. It's in a deplorable state.
You can deploy these engineers, they'll do it.
Fix it.
They say the impossible they do at once for something. For a miracle, give them some time.
Well, may Jah guide them as they go to help out
Yes,
our brothers and sisters in Jamaica. This is what they do best. And we need to see more of its advantage here at home.
Now, if you go to citynewsroom.com, 50 Kwete is on City Newsroom as well. He says, early flag bearer talk and insult to NDC and Mahama. And Ofuri Pinning is telling the government, invest in rural healthcare to save lives. And Ghana card is compulsory for motor insurance from January 2026. So if you don't have the Ghana card, you cannot insure your vehicle. And Ato Forsen says BOG boards must remain functional whether we change new governments or not. And NDC says that there will be no third term for Mahama. So now it's clear. No third term for Mahama.
So it wasn't clear in the 1992 constitution. It was the NDC that had to come and clarify it for us.
Now there's another interesting story here.
Well, the constitution has been reviewed.
Yeah, but it hasn't. It hasn't been reviewed yet.
So maybe, of course,
a report will be sent. There will be a white paper on the report, and then for such a thing to change, there would need to be, first of all, Parliament would do something, then a referendum.
But why is it impossible?
At no point is it the NDC's job.
Why are you ruling out the possibility of it?
I haven't ruled out the possibility.
It's a political process.
I haven't ruled out the possibility. It is the fact that we are looking to the NDC to tell us whether or not it will happen.
Majority and which is the government in office.
But it's still not up to them.
I know, but when it comes to politics, power,
you know what could happen actually?
A lot of things can change.
You know what could happen? There's been conversation about the number of years. So there's been the idea of why don't we do it 5, 2 terms? Some have said why don't we do it 7, 1 term? And I say, what if you have a bad president? 7 years is such a long time. So make it 4. Leave it at 4. 2 terms. Go. I still do not support the 5 years. I think 4 years is enough.
Yeah, because if you have 4 years and you are really committed to excellence and you want to drive development, you should be able to do it.
Yeah, we explain these things that we're using inefficiencies. Yeah. So for instance, and people say that if you compare yourself to the dwarf, you'd always be tall. What we do is that we don't compare ourselves to the best. In other jurisdictions, they actually have a calendar for campaigns. Now, the last time the UK was talking about their longest campaign being 78 days. This is the country called Ghana, where after the last election, immediately after the election, the NPP got into a campaign mood in electing a flag bearer. So you see that happening. The moment the NPP elects a flag bearer, you begin to hear of the tours. This tour, that tour. Campaigning has begun. Very soon, the NDC would also start its processes to elect a flag bearer. And then the campaign begins. So at every point in time we are campaigning in this country, there's no period that we come to the table to say, let's think about the nation. So my friend Inusaf Hussein, Alhaji Inusaf Hussein, used to say in those days that, the president, when you come into office, you use 1 year to settle in, and then you use the last year to also campaign. So we should do it 5 years so that at least, you have 3 years to work. I say, no. You cannot use 1 year to settle in. The institutions of state, we must run them in a way that the institutions of state remain intact.
Yep.
And so we don't have politicians changing everybody.
Always changing the direction the state is going when we have a change. So one person comes, healthcare, this is how I want to do with healthcare. Another person comes, he changes it. Then another person comes, education based.
Whatever happens, whether we end up changing the constitutional provision on a presidential term or not, it will be up to the people, not the NDC.
Yeah.
They should bring a referendum. We'll tell them what we think. And if indeed, for some reason, the people of Ghana feel like 4 years is not enough, then whatever new term they decide on, it should start from the next president, not this one.
Yeah, but if you go into a new constitutional dispensation, you never know what the requirements will be as to whether or not the consecutive nature of, or maybe term limits expressly said on the 2 terms might change. You never know.
Yeah, I'm saying it could change. What I'm saying is that if it will change,
Yeah.
it should start from the next term, next president, not this one. That would be fair, right? So if this president decides to, is the one who is in place to oversee such a change, he shouldn't benefit from it.